Ready, set, go, ready, set. It's the Ready, Set, Go show. Ready, set, go, ready, set, go. It's the Ready, Set, Go show. Ready, set, go, ready, set. It's the Ready, Set, Go show. Ready, set, go, ready, set, go. It's the Ready, Set, Go show.
Everybody now.
Ready, set, go, ready, set. It's the Ready, Set, Go show. Ready, set, go, ready, set, go. It's the Ready, Set, Go show.
What, stop?
No, go.
And now it's time for the Ready, Set, Go show with Miss Katie.
Hey everybody, welcome to the Ready, Set, Go show. I am Miss Katie, and today my special guest is Chris. He loves to make up stories about Louie the Bear for his kids, and I thought it would be fun for him to share one with you. But first, the story song.
Now sit back, relax, off we go. Sit back and relax, off we go. It's a special time, one of the best times of the day. It's time to listen to a story. Hooray!
Thanks for having me, Miss Katie. I'm here to tell a Louie the Bear story. These were stories I used to make up to help my children go to sleep when they were young. And I would make them up on the fly. I never took notes, but there were some consistent themes to those stories. And oftentimes it involved taking a nap. So Louie the Bear lives in Minnesota. That's up north. And there are thick woods and lots of lakes. They call Minnesota the state of 10,000 lakes. Louie the Bear lives in a forest, and he also lives by a river, and it's the biggest river in the United States. It's the Mississippi River. And he would sit outside his little cave and listen to the river flow by. And some days he'd sit outside and listen to the wind go through the leaves in the forest. But one thing he did almost every day was he spent time with a friend. And he would often plan ahead. And that's what he did on this day. He got up because he knew his friend, Sam the chipmunk, was coming over that afternoon. So Louie got on his bicycle and he rode into the little town nearby his house. And he went shopping. He had a nice wicker basket on the front of his bicycle. And he went into the shop and saw the shopkeeper, Mr. Frank. And Mr. Frank said hello, and Louie said hi enthusiastically back to him. And then Louie started picking out things for his snack time with Chipmunk friend. He picked out biscuits, he picked out tea, he also thought about fruit he liked. He really liked cantaloupe. And so he went over to where the cantaloupes were laying around, and he squeezed them to see if they were in good shape. It wasn't cantaloupe season, so he chose not to get cantaloupes because they didn't look big enough or good enough. And then he went over to where there were grapes, and he couldn't decide. He was having a very hard time that day, whether to pick red grapes or green grapes. And then he decided that the plum green grapes were best, so he got those. And then he got some crackers, and he really particularly liked wheat crackers. And he got all those things, went to the shopkeeper, paid for those items, then hopped on his bike and put all those items in the basket and rode back to his house. And an hour later, it was time to have a snack. Knock, knock, knock. There was his friend at the door. He let him in and asked his friend what kind of tea he would like. And his friend said chamomile. It's a very peaceful kind of tea. And so Louie put the kettle on the stove and started boiling water. And then he asked his friend what he would like for a snack. But then he said, wait. You need to know, I have fresh grapes. And his friend got excited because that was his favorite snack of all, the green grapes. And so pretty soon that kettle started to whistle. and he took the water off the stove and poured it into the teapot, and then added 2 bags of chamomile tea. And you have to let it steep. That's what you do with tea, with a tea bag. You let it steep. That means you leave it in the hot water for at least 3 to 5 minutes before you pull the bags out. So while Louie waited for the tea to steep, he got the grapes onto a plate and he pulled them off their stems so they were fresh and ready to go. And he got some of those good wheat crackers out. And then he started searching around in the fridge. What would go well with wheat crackers? Cheese. He found some good cheese in his refrigerator, got it out, and cut off some nice bites to put on top of the crackers. By then, the tea was ready to go, and he got out 2 mugs. One had a big letter L on it. That was Louie's favorite mug. And then he got out another one, and it had the letter F on it, and that was for friend. And so he poured tea into each mug, and his chipmunk friend was excited. And they went outside to the couch that was on the front porch, sat down, and had cups of tea and snacks. And his friend the chipmunk loved to crunch down on those green grapes. He ate so many that Louie had to ask him for one. And they had a nice talk. They talked about what they'd been doing lately. And they talked about their other friends they shared. And then they talked about the things they were planning to do that summer. And then it was time for his chipmunk friend to go. And so you know what Louie did? He got up and he gave his chipmunk friend a bear hug. And it was a long, warm, loving hug. It was so loving that the poor chipmunk squeaked a little because it was a big, hard hug. Squeak! And then his chipmunk friend left. And Louie the Bear always loved to give a warm wave. And his warmest wave to a friend who was leaving was the 2-handed wave. He would hold both hands over his head and wave vigorously. And his chipmunk friend smiled the whole way home. The end.
When I'm outside or inside, I think, learn, and grow. When I'm outside or inside, there's so much to know and do and think and play. Yay for today.
For the indoor activity today, you can work on cutting skills with a pair of scissors. An adult can make you some strips of paper about 5 to 12 inches long and 1 inch wide. And then you can use your scissors to cut the strips into squares. You could also draw lines on a paper or have an adult do it. Make some zigzag lines, curvy lines, and circles or any other kind of lines with pen or marker. Then you can practice cutting right on the lines. For more fun, color in the paper shapes and even make a picture with them by gluing them onto a big piece of paper. It doesn't have to be a normal paper size. You could use a big circle or a long, thin rectangle. Another idea is folding your paper in half so it looks like a card. Then decorate the outside, and then write a note to someone you love on the inside and mail it to them.
An outdoor activity you could try is called horse, and that's a type of basketball game. And so when you play horse, you always have to do it with a friend or even more than one friend. And what you do is you take turns shooting baskets. And when one of you makes the basket, then the others have to make the basket from the same exact spot where you just made your basket. And if they don't make it, then you give them the letter H. And you keep taking turns until someone has spelled out the entire word horse, H-O-R-S-E. And then whoever is the last person in the game who hasn't spelled out the word horse is the winner. And if you need to play a quicker version of that game, you can play cow. Cow is easier because it only has 3 letters and makes a quicker game. Good luck.
Thank you so much to each of you who joined us on the Ready, Set, Go show today. I hope you have a great day. Maybe you can imagine some adventures for Louie the Bear and then tell your story to someone you love before bed tonight.
Thank you for being here. Thank you for being you. Thank you for doing all the things that you do. Until the next time, hope you have a lot of fun. Remember to be kind to everyone. Bye-bye. The Ready, Set, Go show is part of the Possibilities podcast platform.